grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Well, it's finally time for another one of these catch-all episodes. Birdman is away. He wanted to take the week off. It's his birthday, and he had family coming up and a bunch of other stuff to do during our regular recording times. I was also away from home earlier when we could have recorded together, and he said, "Hey, buddy, for my birthday, can you cover the show?" And I said, "Sure." And then I also saw that we had a bunch of other reviews on the go that either couldn't come out yet because there was an embargo, or in certain cases we weren't finished them. We had a bunch on the go. So he has provided me with a review. He's also put I think a little message here, something about his birthday information, what's coming up this week. I will be including that somewhere, probably at the beginning of the show here. And I have a couple of reviews of my own in here, 2 more that I'm working on for next week's show when we should be back together to record. He may be off for that. I'm also not 100% sure. It's wacky. We're in the middle of Broketober, and this is sort of how it is. We're trying to get our schedules back in line so that we can have our regular programming running week to week. But in the meantime, I wanted to put this show together. So because of the circumstances surrounding both of us not being able to record at our regular scheduled time, we're not going to have the geek news or weird news, and we're going to make this a review episode just to make sure we get everything out. Now, I do have a couple that I could have done full reviews for here, but I'm actually going to save them for probably the gift guide, because I'll give my first impressions, at least in this opening here. I received from 2K the newest NBA 2K23 and PGA Tour 2K23 for review and consideration for our gift guide. I'm probably going to include both of them in the gift guide for different reasons. Obviously, one is a more fast-paced game and one is more low-key. But on my first impressions, I played both the PS4 and PS5 versions of each just to see how they would perform. Obviously played them on the PlayStation 5, the PS4 versions being in backwards compatibility mode. The NBA game, surprisingly large, like little over 100 some odd gigs on the PS4 and 160 gigs after its updates on PS5, which is kind of massive. It's one of the largest games I've ever installed on my drive. And a lot of it is the textures, the 4K, everything, the videos, very different interfaces for the PS4 and PS5 version. But I hadn't played an NBA game in a few years. I know some people have said that it's, a facelift upgrade, little bits and pieces here and there. For me, who's somebody who's been away from it for a few years, actually probably several years, it was actually a pleasant experience. It took a while to get used to the controls because it's been a little while for me, but there's a ton of customization in there. There is, here's a warning. There's a lot of microtransaction-y stuff, a lot of things you can earn and unlock and that, but you can ignore most of it if that's one of your holdups. So I'm not going to hold it against it because it wasn't as in my face as I was afraid it was going to be. I had a good time playing it. There is a fair amount of customization you can do for the difficulty as well as accessibility options. So that's a thumbs up from me. So you can tailor it to your needs. and I had a pretty good experience with it so far. I'll probably be playing a little more off and on until then, but I'm going to have that in our gift guide probably coming up in a few weeks. We always do our annual holiday gift guide. Same goes for PGA Tour. That was a surprise because that is surprisingly small. Going in the opposite direction, not only is the PS5 version smaller than the PS4 version, it's dramatically smaller. It's like 11, maybe it was 11 or 15 gigs, something like that. Like less than a tenth the size of the NBA game, yet the same quality of graphics. I don't know how they did that. I don't know what's the big difference there, but load times are super low on it, like very, very fast. You're in the game, it's working. You can customize your golfer and everything. There's tons of accessibility options as well, and I was able to get in and do my play style however I want. There's the default, which is using the analog sticks to do your swings and everything, and I wanted to go old school, which is button presses and pressing the X button over and over again or timing it. And I found that was the best way to play for me. So first impressions are I'm very, very much enjoying it. I was surprised. It's been a long time since I really enjoyed a golf game, and this is actually a very pleasant surprise. So both of them going to be on our gift guide. I'll include links to it in the show here as well if you want to check it out now. But as far as full reviews go, I'm not somebody who's a very big competitive player, but I'm enjoying it as a single player, and I could see getting into it with some friends. And again, if you're into sports titles or you're into these, or you've maybe been away for a while, it's probably worth checking out, and I'll include them in our gift guide as well. Outside of those games, I've also want to give just very, very preliminary first impressions of Potionomics. That is a new game released by our friends at XSEED Games, and I've just gotten into it now, and I'm finding it's pretty good. It is on the lower indie end style of gameplay, but it's about putting together multiple crazy ingredients to fill specific needs and missions, and it's not going to be for everybody, but so far I'm about 5 hours in. I'm having a pretty good time. We'll see if my opinion changes a little later on, and that might end up making our holiday gift guide as well. We'll see. But so far, so good. I'm happy with it. I can't say much more now, simply because I haven't gotten far enough into it yet, as I was away for a few days on vacation, and I came back and just sort of dug into it. But I'm enjoying myself so far, so those are my first impressions of some games that recently came in for us to check out. And as far as the rest of the show goes, we will have a review of Outlander Season 6 from me. We'll also have a review of No More Heroes 3 on the PS5 from me. And Birdman has, I believe it's DC Superheroes, was it Super Pets, I think, from Warner Brothers. And we'll see if there's anything else. If not, we will have plenty more coming on this weekend when we're back with more of the regular show, knock on wood, as long as we can line our schedules up for that. But yeah, we'll get into the reviews here. Sorry for rambling a little bit, but then I'll come back at the end and sort of give an update on programming for the next week and what to expect review-wise from us on the next show or two.
Basically, he's a geek, sir.
Leave me alone, geek boy.
Holy shit, you geeks are badass.
Just a quickie review here, and our friends at Sony Pictures sent Outlander Season 6 for review on Blu-ray. Now, there are two versions of this release. There is a standard edition and a collector's edition. The main difference is the collector's edition includes a 28-page book, 2 Outlander Untold scenes, and a Season 6 soundtrack, and a sneak peek from the author's 10th book in the Outlander series. So if you're a big fan of the book franchise itself, and you've been collecting the different collector's editions of these seasons as they've come out, you'll obviously know what you're in for and want to pick it up. As far as regular special features on the Blu-rays, there are original auditions for the actors, as well as some deleted scenes, which, to be honest, after going through them, I could see why they were cut. There wasn't anything so crucial that it would have altered the story or added much, just little character bits here and there, as well as some episode commentaries, which is a pretty good, insightful look at how they filmed it, because it's one of the shows that has great costumes, because, it's dealing with two different distinct time periods, and the costuming has to be just right to give you that full immersion, and it's pretty good. It's actually a very good, very, very good insight on the creation of the show. Now there's also a look into the animation, Outlander Untold, which gives more context and gives background into things that are happening in the series itself, as well as some blooper reels, which are always nice to add. I'll say this, because the plot is very episodic and you have to have known what happened in the previous seasons, I will not be going in depth into the actual plot of the season. Just know that this is on an upward trajectory. As far as I found season 5 wasn't quite as good personally as the previous seasons, but season 6 is right back on track, and it's getting to the point where it's boiling over to where the American Revolution is happening, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in season 7. Now, as far as visually, it's presented obviously in 1080p in its original aspect, and it is an increase in quality visually from the TV broadcast that I saw when it was airing. So that's always good. They've done a pretty good job of mastering the visuals. It's not like it's overly dark. Sometimes I find modern shows, when they go to Blu-ray, unless they're on like Ultra 4K, they tend to sometimes have a darker look to them. This is nice and vibrant. The colors pop. Really good color grading on it. Now, audio-wise, it is 5.1 master audio. Really high quality. It has really good sound direction on the show, and it's been that way since the very beginning. Fantastic music and a really good audio mix. You can very clearly make out everybody's dialogue while all the little sound effects are happening and to give you full immersion in the background. The subwoofer isn't super utilized, but it's not overpowering either, so that's good. And the back channels are used sparingly, but when they're there, you'll know they're there without like making you jump or anything. It is very well immersed. There are subtitles in English, and as well as subtitles for the deaf and hearing impaired, which is good. And there's French subtitles on there. Now, outside of that, it's a pretty standard release. Sony does a pretty good job, obviously, with most of their Blu-ray releases. And if you're a fan of the series, you'll probably want to pick it up. I can say that for once, the collector's edition is probably worth it. Like, I know somebody might be saying, hey, if I didn't already have the previous seasons with collector's editions, is it worth me picking this up because it might be different on my shelf? That'll be up to you. But it is pretty neat that it comes with a book and the season 6 soundtrack. So collector's edition for super fans, regular edition if you're a fan of the series, it is still worth it. It's a very, very high quality modern release from Sony Pictures.
This is a fair request, and I promise I will not judge any person only as a teenager, and that this is no more right than saying all teenagers are drunken dope addicts or glue sniffers.
Incoming message from the big giant head.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and well, as you can guess, I'm not here on the show this past week. Alex has decided to give me the week off as it's my birthday week, so big thanks to him. I turned 41 on October 20th, so I don't have the answer to life, the universe, and everything, but I guess that'll be next year. As I often do, I often tell you guys what I've been up to this week, and well, fall is in full swing in Ontario, Canada. And I decided to take this time to spend most of my time at Riverside Park here where I live here in Guelph. And I had an absolutely wonderful time just meeting people, feeding the squirrels. I petted a lot of dogs. I don't know if I've ever told this on the show, but my goal is whenever I go outside in my wheelchair, if I go down to a park, I try to pet 5 dogs. And I had dogs come up to me. I had dogs that remembered me from earlier in the summer. They came up, they jumped on me, I gave them treats. It was a fantastic time. Their owners love how I'm super friendly. And I actually talked with a person, they wanted to know about my Indigenous background. And I had a really awesome time. I also talked about some disability issues. Fantastic time. And as I often do now, I went down to the Guelph Storm game. As of this recording, the Guelph Storm played the Saginaw Spirit. They're from Michigan. I haven't seen these guys play since my Owen Sound days. And, well, we didn't win. We lost 6-1, so a bit of a butt whooping, but it is what it is. You pick yourself back up. But the really cool thing was they did something last night, and it was for Pink in the Rink. And what that is, that's about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And it was really cool because they were selling t-shirts for like $15 a piece. So I got one for Blair and one for me. And Blair's fits perfectly. Mine doesn't yet, but it's a goal. So I thought that was really cool, and it gives me something to work towards there. Plus, I met all these wonderful people, and one of the really cool things is the mayor of Guelph, the current mayor of Guelph. We have a municipal election coming up on like the 24th. He came up and talked with me. Mayor Cam Guthrie. He's like, "Hey, Mike, how's it going? I'm really happy to see you working with the community and everything." It's fantastic. I took a couple pictures with him over on my Twitter earlier this year. And then I had just a bunch of people from the Sleeman Center come up. And it was really cool because one of them, this woman named Lynn, who goes out of her way to be so friendly to me, she did something that absolutely warmed my heart last night. I was telling her about how cancer has affected my family, most notably with my father-in-law who passed away in December of 2019, my father-in-law, Dave. And she gave me the cancer awareness ribbon, and now I have that on my Guelph Storm hat, and I am going to wear that, well, as long as I possibly can. And it was just something really nice. And obviously with October, like I said, being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, if you happen to be in that percentile, get yourself checked out, be very smart about it, you know. But overall, I just had a really, really fantastic time just talking with all sorts of new people, meeting a lot of really friendly faces down there at the rink. And I think I'm sort of getting the reputation here in Guelph as like, hey, that's Mike, the really big friendly guy in the wheelchair. So I love it. It's like fantastic. Other than that, this week, I've been preparing to play Gotham Knights. I'm just replaying the Arkham series right now. I'm about halfway through Arkham City. I forgot how big that game was. I did a playthrough of Arkham, what was it? The third one a couple of years ago where I got like 100% everything. So that one I'm not too worried about. Plus everybody knows the big ending by now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Call of Duty. I've been playing Overwatch 2. I've been playing more Pharah than Sombra recently, so that's a bit of a change for me because Sombra is my number one girl. I love her look, I love her abilities, and I like just being a pain in the ass to people. Other than that, I've also got some stuff coming up for review, which you'll hear next week. I got a huge bucket of stuff I've been starting to clear out. Me and Alex are starting to prepare for Holiday Gift Guide. It's going to be a sprint to the finish by the end of the year. And hopefully we are going to get some more Halloween content out. It's just our schedules have not been lining up recently, so we do apologize. But you did hear James Rolfe at the beginning of the month, so hopefully you enjoyed that. We had a lot of fun putting that together, so hopefully you will hear something from me, Aaron, and Alex in the next little bit. Otherwise, I will co-opt Ken and JT. I'm sure we will figure out something. But anyway, guys, I am off to Poetry Slam here in Guelph. And tonight I'm going to be doing some new pieces that I will hopefully entertain the crowd and enthrall them. So, Alex, thank you for the time off, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. If you want to get a hold of me, all my socials are at BirdmanDodd. Hope to hear from you guys soon. So, Until next time, Birdman out!
I'm sorry, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. In other news... Oh, my apologies.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Hold that thought. It's crapper time.
Our friends over at XSEED Games sent a review copy of No More Heroes 3. Now, I know what you're saying. We reviewed this earlier in the year, but now it's come to consoles outside of the Nintendo Switch, and I reviewed a copy on the PlayStation 5. And this is just a very, very quick review because it's the same game we talked about before that I absolutely loved. The main difference here is being on a much more powerful platform. You know, you might be asking yourself, does the performance get a sizable boost from the Switch version? The main issue I had with the Switch version, which again I loved, was that the frame rate, while sometimes approaching 30 FPS when you're in individual instance battles and boss fights, was okay. You know, it had the occasional slowdown as enemies died, or if a lot of things happened on screen at once. It was notorious for when you're in the overworld sections where you're riding your bike around to the different areas to do the odd jobs, to build money to then, fight the next fights. It would drop to like 10 frames, 7 frames. Sometimes it was pretty rough, and the pop in and the resolution would drop to like 480p. It almost felt like 360p sometimes. And it was just a really rough overall on the Switch, because the Switch itself obviously isn't, it's technically 7-year-old CPU, right? It's and a portable one at that. So unless you optimize heavily for it, design everything around that limitation, you end up with some performance issues. And that was the only thing holding back that game from being, pretty much a modern masterpiece. And I'm happy to say that playing it on the PS5, and I'm going to assume on the PS4, Xbox One, Series XS, and all, it's a much better experience. But specifically playing it on the PS5, you get the advantage of your haptic feedbacks, your triggers, your pressure resistance triggers, as well as just an overall massive performance increase. The game is pretty much locked at 60 FPS now, playing at 4K. There's like no pop in. The whole world basically loads. Once you go from instance to instance, it loads for like 2 seconds and the whole world loads in, and there's no aliasing. It's kind of what you'd hoped the game would have been, but obviously the Switch couldn't perform at that level. So it was great having it to able to play in portable mode, but here you're getting the full 60 FPS, high resolution, super high def experience, and I had no slowdowns at all. It made the game more of a breeze to play for sure. It's so much faster in load times too. Like it's pretty significant. Like we're talking 2 or 3 seconds between things. It is audio wise a lot less compressed as well. I played it with my television on, with the surround sound set, and it wasn't overly immersive that way, but it was clear that the audio sounded less tinny and less compressed. And then using my 3D Pulse headset, the official PS5 headset, I found that playing with that headset and then playing with a wired headset in the Switch version, it was still significantly better on the PlayStation 5. So it is an upgrade in everything you'd hope for. I know there might have been some initial worry that perhaps maybe still wasn't going to be that efficient, might have some varying frame rates, but no, it's pretty much a locked 60 FPS. So if you held off because you're worried about the reviews with the performance of No More Heroes No More Heroes 3 on the Switch, and you have a modern home console and you don't mind not being able to play it in portable mode, this is definitely the sort of definitive version to go with.
I have an owner, and he's Superman.
Let me just iron that out. They should call me Iron Man. No. My dog's the best, but he's not the greatest with other animals.
What is new with you, fellow normal dog?
I bit the FedEx guy the other day.
Who was he working for? General Zod? The Legion of Doom?
FedEx.
Of course. The Federation of X's. Not to be trusted.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and I'm here to take a look at something coming to us on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray and a digital code. I'm looking at the DC League of Super Pets. And you might think, well, this is a kid's movie, and, well, you are not wrong. But what I got here was something kind of unexpected. So earlier this summer, I decided to take myself out on an adventure, and I have never gone this far in my wheelchair up until this point. So this movie is something of a milestone for me. The fact that I was able to push through, go see this on my own with a big burst of independence, and do this as actually part of a double feature. I saw this and Nope on the same day. So this was an interesting palate cleanser after seeing Nope, which was a good movie, if strange. But back to the movie. So, the DC League of Super Pets, it's about Crypto the Super Dog and how he runs into a ragtag band of misfits at a local animal shelter who somehow get superpowers, and they have to fight back against a bald guinea pig named Lulu, voiced by Kate McKinnon. She was one of the Ghostbusters from the 2016 reboot, also a longtime cast member of Saturday Night Live. So you get the voice talents of Kevin Hart, you get The Rock, you get Diego Luna, who plays Captain Cassian Andor on the Andor series, Natasha Lyonne from Orange is the New Black, and a bunch of other fantastic comedians. Also, John Krasinski is Superman? That's unusual, but sure, why not? What you get here, it's a cute little movie. And it's something that I think can be enjoyed by adults and kids alike. There's actually a special feature on here that I really want to draw attention to. It talks about all the Easter eggs that are hidden in this movie. Like, there's one for Jonah Hex Steaks. There's something about the Martian Manhunter. There's, Al's Diner. There's all things from the DC comics from the 1930s all the way up to current day. There's the Metropolis Meteors, which is actually the baseball team that plays out of Metropolis. It's little things that even the director's I don't remember putting that in there. And when he went back and watched it, that was really cool. There's a special feature that talks about how to draw Crypto. Not good, because I can barely draw stick figures. There's a really fun one. It's about 15 minutes long, and it talks about the voice casting of the Super Pets movie, and it's really, really, really funny, actually. I was pleasantly surprised by how entertaining it was. I really think the voice cast on this movie gelled tremendously. I mean, The Rock and Kevin Hart have worked well on the Jumanji movies. Everybody else here is in their element. I could tell there was a lot of fun ad-libbing here. I didn't realize how funny Diego Luna was. I've always just known him as the Rogue One guy, but now him as Chip is fantastic. And then Natasha Lyonne as Murton the turtle is amazingly funny. You win this round, lettuce. It's funny. I was honestly very surprised how fun this movie was. And not gonna lie, if there was a sequel to this, I certainly wouldn't complain. I was actually very happy to see this, and not just because I associate a good time with this movie from this past summer. No, I really had a fun time with this. So, can I recommend the DC League of Super Pets? Well, if your kid is a fan of, Batman and Superman, and if they're expecting that, well, they're going to get something a little bit different here. I would recommend this, honestly, to families. I mean, at the very least, you can stream this movie on Crave. Do I think it's worth owning? If you're into this sort of thing, yeah, I really think so. It's a fantastic time. I really hope this is a property that gets a chance to breathe at some point. And like I said, Kate McKinnon needs to play more villainous animals. I loved her in this. It's a really, really, really good time, and Diego Luna's Chip may be one of my favorite all-time animated stupid characters of all time. Once again, that is the DC League of Super Pets, coming to us from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment.
You win this round, lettuce.
Those magnificent bastards!
Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
And that's going to do it for our show this week. Just a quick one. We wanted to make sure we got these reviews out and about to you, the listener. And what do we have coming this week? Well, we've got another Earth versus Soup coming on Thursday. Birdman's birthday is also Thursday. So I will be heading over there for the celebrations, little gift exchange for him and a little, I'm assuming cake or something to eat. We'll see what happens there. I have, on a personal note, some doctor's appointment to follow up. I'm getting my flu shot and I'm getting the newest booster, COVID, whatever, bivalent, whatever you want to call it. I'm getting my booster shot just because I'm getting the flu shot at the same time. So I figured, hey, why the hell not? I think Birdman already has his, or he either has it or he's getting it this Friday. I'm not sure. Either way, we're going to be vaccinated so we can hang out and I can not worry about getting something and spreading it to my grandma or whatever when I go and help her out. And then as far as end of the week, as long as things don't change, I'm going to go see Black Adam. I believe Birdman is as well. We might have our quick thoughts on that on an upcoming podcast as well. I also picked up tickets for later on. I think it's next month or whatever when Wakanda Forever comes out, but the tickets are already on sale, so I picked one up. I'm not even sure what day. It was a blur when I ordered it. I'll have to double check. And then as far as reviews are concerned, I'm working on the Star Trek Prodigy Supernova game, which as of this recording has just been released, but we received our review code release day. I'm enjoying it so far. I can say that because obviously the embargo is up. And as far as details on that, I'll have a full review with my full thoughts on that this coming week, as well as my review of the brand new game from Warner Brothers Games, the long, in some ways delayed but also anticipated Gotham Knights. I know that it's had some controversy right now in the gaming media about frame rates. I will have my thoughts on everything come this coming week because I'm digging into it now, and I can't really give my full thoughts until obviously when the review is able to go live. So those are my two reviews that I'll have for the next week's show. I know Birdman's working on a few things as well. I believe he also has Star Trek, so maybe he'll be able to give his thoughts on it, but I'll be doing the full review on that. And outside of that, that's pretty much it. We're trying to catch up and get things ready for our gift guide that's coming. It comes usually the first week of December, but we also want to make sure we have stuff ready to talk about for Black Friday because we've done the last couple of years, we will do a quick Black Friday deals talk, and then for those that missed it or in Canada where it's not as big of a deal, we have our last minute holiday gift guide for everybody to check out. So we're slowly curating things for that. I should be having a review in the next week or two on the newest Roku, which is exciting. I believe I'm one of the first people in Canada. Actually, I believe I'll be one of the first people in Canada to check out the newest Roku Ultra, the 2022 edition. I don't know if it's any different than what's been available in the States, but I am told that we will be one of the first outlets to have it. It's not actually available yet on their website, but we should be receiving that the next day or two, actually, and I'll be checking it out. Plenty of new features in there, and I'm going to actually compare it to the Roku Premiere Plus, which was the first Roku that I purchased back in, I think, 2016, as it's the same form factor, and it's going after that same market. Because back then, the Roku Ultra was not available in Canada. The Premiere Plus was. And now, then for a while, the Ultra was a different shape and different with different features, and now it's gone back to that full-size form factor. So we'll see from there what happens. And we've got some other things in the works that we might be receiving. I've been in contact with a couple companies. One that reached out was, if you remember last year, we did the Circuit Mess little handheld stem for school's STEM project where you can put together a little 8-bit handheld console by learning soldering. And they have some other projects that they're releasing this year that they said, hey, would you like to check something out? And I said, yes. And we're just waiting to hear back and see if that goes through and how it's going to work. And there's a few other things like that we've been in contact with, and we'll see how it goes. But now is the time when Birdman and I start to put together the gift guide and look at what cool gadgets and games and movies and everything that are coming for the holiday season. So that's sort of what's going on. There's some updates to the website that we're going to go through. I don't know when that's going to happen, but as is with anything technology-wise, certain things update and then certain things don't work. So usually we schedule things like the Earth versus Soup episodes several in advance. Like we've got probably a year's worth of episodes that we can edit and go through because Aaron and Darlene are podcasting machines. It's just usually we schedule things way in advance for our programming, but I'm looking like I'm having to work day by day on it because one of the plugins that we use that is built integral to our site isn't connecting with our podcast host the way that it used to, in that it used to be we could have things scheduled way ahead even if the episode wasn't live yet. Now the episode has to go live with our podcast host before we can put it on the website, which doesn't sound like much to most people, but internally that's a pain because that means that I can't spend one afternoon a week and get a whole week's worth of podcasts ready to go. It means I have to actually go every single day that we're releasing a podcast and manually make that post the same day that we release it. So not a huge deal, but it means that a little shuffling around of our schedules that way. I also received my RPG books from Renegade Game Studios that I had pre-purchased way ahead of time because they had to wait till they were all in at once to ship it. So I've got the Transformers RPG, I've got the G.I. Joe one, and we got the Power Rangers one. We are looking to get our schedule put together and sometime to record our Power Rangers game, which the plan is, again, knock on wood, the plan is to have that recorded, and when we take our Christmas break, every year we're off after the gift guide until sometime in January, we want to release those episodes and have that so that during our Christmas break we got plenty of tabletop RPGs we can listen to, as well as Earth versus Soup and likely a Christmas or a New Year's special somewhere in there as well. So that's pretty much it. And we'll be back later on this week with Earth versus Soup, as well as some brand new regular Twig shows. And Birdman and I will be recording some more Halloween special type material to be releasing right as we get close to Halloween to complement what we did with James Rolfe earlier in the year that we released, I believe, last weekend. We'll be further talking about horror movies and having a jolly good time as Halloween is by far probably one of our most favorite holidays, just simply because we're big horror fans here at Twig. So that's it. We'll be back. Stay safe, everybody. It's getting cold out. Bundle up. All that good shit. And we'll be back probably Monday.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.